with our first discussion, which is based on this news article which appeared on page number 6 in the Hindu newspaper. Context is, as I told you, two cheetahs named Agni and Vayu have been released in the safari zone of Kuno National Park in Shiopur district in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, you must have heard about this national park in many newspaper articles because in year 2009, Kuno National Park was a proposed site for cheetah reintroduction, which was beginning in year 2022. And in year 2022, 8 cheetahs from Namibia landed in India at Kuno National Park. And this 17th September marked the second year. Okay. So now, we have taken a practice question on Kuno National Park because UPSC has been asking question on different national parks. Like in year 2019, UPSC has asked question based on India's desert national park. And we'll solve this answer. First, let's see important details with respect to Kuno National Park. Now, Kuno National Park. It is situated in which state? Yes, Madhya Pradesh. And Madhya Pradesh form part of Peninsular Plateau. Okay. It derives its name from river Kuno. Now, Kuno is tributary of river Chambal. Now, you need to tell me, Chambal is tributary of which river? Yamuna or Ganga? Yes, Yamuna. All these details are quite important for your prelims examination. Okay, now this Kuno National Park is situated in 2 districts. And what are those districts? Shiropur, as we have mentioned in the context. Then Shivpuri. Okay. 2 districts. These districts lies near Vindhyan range in Madhya Pradesh. Okay. This Kuno National Park form the part of Gir Kathiawar dry deciduous ecozone. Now, this Kuno National Park forms a part of Gir Kathiawar, that is Kathiawar Plateau. Gir is also part of that. Dry deciduous means trees in this forest, they shed their leaves for a specific time period in response to dry period. Okay. So this region basically forms a part of arid zone, arid ecozone. Okay. Which stretches across 3 different states. Rajasthan, Gujarat, that is why Gir Kathiawar, then Madhya Pradesh. Okay. And this dry deciduous forest consists of trees like Hardai, Kher, etc. These are the prominent trees in dry deciduous forest. Okay. Now, let's solve practice MCQ. Sorry. First statement is, it spreads over 2 districts of Madhya Pradesh. Yes. And what are those 2 districts? Shiopur and Shivpuri. That makes this statement correct. Then, it is the only national park in India that is home to cheetah. Correct? In 2009, it was the first proposed site, and cheetah reintroduction program started in year 2022 when 8 cheetahs came from Namibia to India and landed up at Kuno National Park. Okay, so this makes Kuno National Park the only national park in India that is home to cheetahs. Now, it has a unique forest area with Kardai, Salai and Kher trees. These are the prominent trees of, yes, dry deciduous forest. Okay, forest where trees shed their leaves for a specific season in response to dry period. Now, in this question, you need to find out the incorrect statements. But here, all these statements are correct. So, what would be the answer? Your answer would be D. Okay. And here, Answer of this PYQ is option C. That is 1 and 3 only. Now, let's come to the next question. Next question is based on this news article which appeared on page number 9 in the Indian Express. And the context of this news article, as I told you, that Black Sea is working as an epicenter of dispute amid the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. Because Ukraine and Russia launched numerous drones which basically attacked Russia airbase near Black Sea. Okay. And India should not ignore naval lessons from Russian-Ukraine conflict. It's a learning for India. Now, UPSC has been asking question based on geographical locations, like this question, where UPSC provided you 2 columns. One consists of different sea with bordering countries, respective bordering countries. And this question UPSC asked in year 2019. So here we have curated practice question based on Black Sea. Now before answering that, first let us see map. Now here you can see Black Sea is an inland sea. Why inland sea? Because it is bordered by different countries. Okay, it is a landlocked. Now, inland seas, it lie between 2 continents. And what are those continents? Europe and Asia. Okay, and it is bordered by total 6 countries. And what are those countries? Georgia in east, Russia in northeast, Ukraine in north, then we have Romania and Bulgaria in west, then we have Turkey in south. Okay, so total how many countries? Russia, Georgia, Ukraine, Romania, Bulgaria and Turkey. Total 6 countries. So bordered by 6 countries. Okay. And rivers provide base for this Black Sea. Yes. Danube, Don and Dnieper. These are the important rivers from the base of Black Sea. Now one interesting fact is with respect to Black Sea is that Black Sea, one interesting fact is that Black Sea forms the largest base for, let me write for you, that is Meromictic Basin. Now what is Meromictic Basin? See, basically the lower layers of Black Sea, lower layers of water of Black Sea do not mix with upper layers. Okay, see, these layers do not mix with upper layers. So what will happen? 90% of this deep volume of Black Sea is anoxic in nature. That means without oxygen. Anoxic means without oxygen. So these layers are without oxygen. Okay. So these are the important facts with respect to Black Sea. Now let's solve our question. Sorry, one technical glitch is there. Sorry for the delay. So these are the important facts related to Black Sea. Now let's solve a question. Question is consider the following, and here you are provided with 7 countries: Ukraine, Moldova, Romania, Macedonia, Bulgaria, Georgia and Turkey. And here, how many of the countries mentioned above borders Black Sea? Now, you know answer of this question. Total 6 countries. Ukraine, Russia, Georgia, Turkey, Bulgaria, Romania. So in this option, you can cut down Moldova, Macedonia. So your answer is option C, that only 6 countries. Okay. And answer of this PYQ is option B. Now, let's come to the next. Discussion, which is based on this news article, which appeared on page number 12 in the Hindu newspaper. Context is that India's second indigenous 700 megawatt nuclear power reactor at Kakrapar Atomic Power Project in Gujarat has achieved its first criticality. Now, what is criticality means? That nuclear fission or nuclear reaction in this reactor is controlled or self-controlled or sustained nuclear reaction. Okay, that means attained criticality. It has set the stage for its gradual move towards producing electricity for commercial purposes. Okay, now UPSC has been asking questions based on different aspects related to nuclear power or nuclear power plants. This question was based on International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor, which came in year 2020. So here we have taken a practice question based on nuclear energy, and you are provided with 2 statements, and you need to find out the correct one. Before that, first we need to understand basics about nuclear energy, and we'll start with nuclear fission. Now, nuclear fission is a type of nuclear reaction in which nucleus of heavy atom, that is like for example uranium or plutonium, it is bombarded by neutrons, which release lots of neutrons and energy. Okay, and further in the process, these neutrons will again split nuclei or small nuclei into smaller nuclei, which again will release set of neutrons and lot of energy. So as you can see in this image, neutron bombarded atom or nucleus of heavy atom like uranium and plutonium. Here example of uranium 235. So it will split into different small nuclei. Okay, and then it release different neutrons and energy, and this energy released in this process can be harnessed and converted into steam, which can turn up turbine to produce electricity. That's how nuclear energy produce electricity. Okay, so this is about the nuclear fission, and as you seen that neutron bombardment splitting the heavy atom into different nuclei, it set a course of chain reaction, and that chain reaction is known as nuclear fission. Okay, so here let's understand what is criticality. Criticality means number of neutrons produced in the process or in the process of nuclear fission. Number of neutrons produced in the nuclear fission, okay, is equivalent to number of neutrons lost in the process. Number of neutrons lost in the process, maybe because of absorption or leakages or any other factor. So here you can see it is a kind of equilibrium between number of neutrons produced in the process and number of neutrons lost in the process, and this new equilibrium set a controlled or sustained chain reaction, and that is known as criticality, and that is why it is mentioned here that Kakrapar fourth unit is the second indigenous unit which attained criticality. Okay. Now, what is the fuel material for nuclear reaction? Yes, uranium 235, which is a low enriched fuel. Okay. See, basically, naturally occurring uranium consists of three isotopes of uranium. What are those? Uranium 238, uranium 235, and uranium 234. So, majorly 99% is uranium 238. Then we have uranium 235, that is 0.7 percentage. Then we have uranium 234, that is 0.5. So you can make it that highest proportion is of uranium 238, then uranium 235. But you will be amazed to know that uranium 235 is the only existing nuclide which is fissile in nature, or which is fissile with thermal neutrons. Okay. So to produce electricity, what we need? Uranium 235. But actually, its proportion is quite less. So what we should do? We should enrich uranium to make it to make it or utilize it for a better fuel. And how we can do that? By adding concentration of uranium 235 in it. Yes. Okay. So now you know what is a nuclear fission. What do you mean by criticality? You understood the process. Then basic fuel used in nuclear fission, that is uranium 235. So currently in India we have 22 nuclear reactor in 8 states. For your pre, you should read about all these, at least location wise. See, in article we have mentioned about Kakrapar Atomic Power Station. It is a nuclear power plant situated in Surat district in Gujarat, and it is operated by Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited, that is NPCIL. It consists of 4 pressurized heavy water reactors, 2 220 megawatt and 2 700 megawatt. And see, fourth unit is the second indigenous. Which one is the first indigenous? That is unit 3 of Kakrapar Atomic Power Station. First indigenous developed plant with modern safety features, and it started its commercial operation in year 2023, this August only. Okay, so this is all about Kakrapar Atomic Power Station. Now let's solve our question. So here you are provided with 2 statements. So the first statement is natural uranium consists of over 90% of uranium 235 isotope. Now you need to tell me whether this statement is correct or incorrect. See, 90% of uranium isotope naturally occurring is 238, not 235. This makes our first statement incorrect. Okay. Then, criticality of a nuclear reactor occurs when neutrons production exceeds the rate of neutron losses, causing uncontrolled chain reaction. Now, what is criticality? When number of neutrons produced in the nuclear fission or in the process is equal to the number of neutrons lost in the process. That is criticality. That is equilibrium. That is controlled chain reaction. But what is supercriticality? Supercriticality, where number of neutrons exceeds number of neutrons produced in the process exceeds number of neutrons lost, and this will lead to, yes, this will lead to uncontrolled chain reaction. So with this, our second statement is incorrect. So both these statements are incorrect. So our answer is D. Neither one nor two. Answer of this PYQ is option D. Okay. Now let's come to our last three-pointer, which is based on this news article, which appeared on page number 11 in the Indian Express. Context of this news article is that this article basically discussed the reasons and amplification of improvement in the condition of exchange of the agricultural labors, and this article also talk about terms of trade, which will take up in the form of MCQ. Okay. Now UPSC has been asking question based on terms related to economy or concepts related to economy. Like this question based on convertibility of rupee came in year 2015. So here we have taken a practice question based on terms of trade. Now what is terms of trade? To answer this question, first you need to understand what is terms of trade for any sector. See, terms of trade for any sector, you take it manufacturing sector, agricultural sector, or industry sector, it refers to the movement of prices of products within that sector relative to prices of non-sectoral products. So if we are talking about agriculture sector, then it is movement of prices of agricultural commodities. Okay, that relative to prices of non-agricultural commodities. Okay, got it? So terms of trade is movement of prices of products within that sector, agricultural sector or industrial sector, to prices of non-sectoral, which is not part of that specific sector. So here, if we are talking about agriculture, it is movement of price of agricultural commodities relative to price of non-agricultural commodities, and it is calculated by GVA deflator. Now what is GVA deflator? Gross value added deflator, which is a measure of inflation also. It is GVA at current price divided by GVA at constant price. Okay. So if we want to calculate terms of trade for farm sector or agriculture sector, then it will be GVA of agriculture or deflator of agriculture in GVA of non-agriculture. Okay, that is terms of trade of farm sector. And terms of trade can be calculated for service, for industries. Okay. So now what is mentioned in the context of this article is that there is a terms of trade of farm sector has been increasing if you compare with last decade. In last decade, it was 96% and currently it is 126%. So you can see terms of trade has been increasing. Now what does it mean if terms of trade is increasing? That means price of agricultural commodity is higher than price of non-agricultural commodity. Okay. Now why price of agricultural commodity is higher than non-agricultural? Because of rising demand of agricultural products in global market. Okay. Plus there is a government support also in the form of policies like we have MSP, minimum support price, which led to the increase in demand of agricultural products in global market, that led to the rise in terms of trade of agricultural sector, and that is why we have increasing tendency of terms of trade. Got it? Now let's solve this MCQ based on our above discussion. Terms of trade for any sector refers to the movement of price of product within that sector relative to price of non-sectoral products. Okay, now this statement is correct as I told you. It is terms of trade for any sector is movement of price of product within that sector relative to price of non-sectoral products. Now let's come to the second statement. India has been experiencing declining TOT, terms of trade in agriculture. But just now I told you, India is witnessing increasing terms of trade since last decade. Currently it is 126%. If you compare with last decade, that is 96%. So there's an increasing tendency of terms of trade. This makes our second statement incorrect. So with this, our answer is option A, that is only one, because only first statement is correct. And answer of this PYQ is option C. Okay. So that's all for your prelims.